To coin one of my other mentors, Mr. Jim Morton, training doesn't cost, it pays. And more than anything with training, in my opinion, maybe it's not just always necessarily listening to the guy or girl at the front of the room, but it's the networking that's involved with it.
And ultimately, like, we can't let the size of our assignment dictate the significance of our impact.
So one of my favorite sayings, I'm sure you're going to hear the voice crack again, but if not me, who? If you're not willing to sometimes take charge and take the reins in complete ownership of what you're a part of what you're doing, there's no way you can be a leader.
You're listening to the Limitless Leadership Podcast, the podcast designed to help automotive repair shops learn how to lead, coach, train, and manage their team better by sharing proven techniques and thought-provoking interviews from industry leaders. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's today's episode.
All right, leaders, whether you're running a shop, leading a team, or leveling up in your career, you know details matter. And if you're like me, that includes keeping your beard on point. That's why I trust the Bearded Brotherhood. Their beard oils, beard balms, and mustache waxes, among other, are made with all natural ingredients, no junk, no shortcuts, just top-tier quality that keeps my beard looking sharp and feeling great. And let's talk scents. Whether it's their best-selling Woodsman or my personal favorite, Lone Stranger, the Bearded Brotherhood keeps me smelling fresh and my beard stays soft all day. If you take your beard game seriously, this is the stuff that you need. And because you're part of the Limitless Leadership podcast family, I've got a deal for you. Just visit thebeardedbrotherhood.co/lead15 to grab your favorite products and get 15% off in the process. Because a great leader deserves a great beard. Now, back to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Limitless Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Parnell, and before we get started with today's episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to all the things necessary on social media. Go to the YouTube channel at The Bearded Leader to like and comment on this video, and you're going to want to do this because this video features a phenomenal trainer in the industry. He is a leader in his own right. Our guest today is the owner and trainer at FACS, which I'm going to ask him to share that acronym here in a bit. But he's also a self-described teacher and student, and trainer and student, which is so important in this industry, being a lifelong learner. And our lifelong learner, our guest today, is Mr. Andrew Fischer. Andrew, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Andrew, man, before we get started, go ahead and share with the audience who you are, what you do, what is FACS, and let's hear all about Mr. Andrew Fischer.
So I am the owner and trainer for FACS. So FACS is a play with words. It's Fischer Automotive Consulting and Training Services. So that's how I do most of my technical training. I'm also a technical trainer for TechFix, do some leadership training once in a while for ShopFix. I'm a CarQuest technical instructor as well. So kind of the man of many hats. I also run day-to-day operations at a repair facility as well, and still work in the shop as often as I can. So kind of doing a little bit of everything.
Awesome. I'm definitely a man of many hats, and you wear them well, man. Again, like, this is kind of an introductory for us to be able to learn more about each other, but I'm seeing what you're doing on social media. I'm seeing the impact that you're making across the industry. So I was really excited to jump on this episode with you. Let's talk about what got you in the industry, how long you've been in the industry. Let's go back to when it all began.
So you're probably going to hear me crack a little bit. I'm going to get a little emotional here. So I've been in the industry now, working as a full-time tech, a little over 20 years. I was blessed enough. My grandfather was a shade tree mechanic that loved training. He loved going to classes. We were at the time living in the far south suburbs of Chicago. So I was blessed, a lot of top-notch technical trainers are from the Chicagoland area. And my grandfather loved to go to classes. So I've been taking notes and sitting inside classes since I was about 6 years old. My grandpa was a old school Polak. He couldn't read his own handwriting. So he would take 6-year-old me with absolutely horrible handwriting at the time too. And I would take notes for him. So I was really blessed. Ken Zanders, who's I think one of the most phenomenal trainers in the technical realm was one guy my grandfather looked up to. So obviously I look up to him as well. He's the whole reason. What you see for me is really a reflection of Kenny. And been doing this for quite a while. Got into technical training by happenstance, really. I was blessed enough. I became friends with Mr. Brandon Steckler, and was involved with him when he was doing a lot of social media stuff online. And he threw my name in a hat to get involved with CarQuest while I was trying to launch Fax. And the rest is history. I mean, the last 24 months have been an absolute whirlwind. I had some bucket list items as far as a trainer goes that amazingly I've hit every one except one so far. About 18 months. Yeah. So I'm very blessed. It's been a whirlwind. I couldn't do it without my family, without my coworkers, without the owner of the business here, being able to allow me to go out and do things like that. So it's been a load of fun. And then when I got involved with TechFix, I mean, it just catapulted everything, being able to really make a difference with so many other technicians. And the big thing I tell everybody, when you stand at the front of the room and you're the instructor, the reality is I learned more standing at the front of the room than I ever did sitting in the seats. And I do this to be a better tech. When I'm doing the technical training, and it's been a lot of fun. And I would encourage anybody, if it's something you're interested in, if you got some people skills, do it. And even if you don't, I overcame social anxiety. I deal with a lot of anxiety when I get up on the stage, and I just fight through it every time I do it, just to get better and better.
Man, Andrew, I'm really appreciating just hearing your heart right now. Like, I can tell you are someone who is very passionate about this industry and what you do and how you do it. And I think more importantly, why you do it, because ultimately when the why is clear, the how is easy, and purpose will trump motivation, any day of the week. I think speaking for myself, I can tell you that when I step on stage, it's the same type of feeling. And I always like to say, I think it's because I care. Like, I genuinely care about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But the way you're describing what the impact the room makes for you, like the training attendees, how they make the impact for you as a trainer, I know that we connect through authenticity, humility, and vulnerability. And folks, if you're listening to this episode or watching this episode on YouTube, it's very evident early on in the first 5 minutes of this episode how Andrew is connecting through authenticity, humility, and vulnerability. So I want to give you kudos to that, because that's really why you make such an impact. Like, that's how you're able to impact people in a way to shift a paradigm and shift perspective and how they do things. So yeah, kudos to you for that, man. You talked about your grandfather being a shade tree mechanic who loved training. That phrase, you won't hear that phrase hardly ever. A shade tree mechanic who loves training. Talk to us about the importance of training, and anyone who's listening who might be saying or thinking, yeah, I think training probably sounds good, but I can't afford it, or I can't afford to have my guys out of the shop, or I can't, or I can't because of time or because of X, Y, or Z. Talk to us about training and why it's so important, and the ROI on training to begin with.
Yeah, so I mean, I struggle with the ROI thing, right? Because you hear a lot of owners, and I run the shop here. That's definitely something we talk about. I think it's hard to put a number on the ROI, right? But to coin one of my other mentors, Mr. Jim Morton, training doesn't cost, it pays. If you're willing to send your guys, and it doesn't have to be super advanced diagnostics. I mean, it could be alignment angles, which again, I think at the end of the day, a lot of, especially technicians, they don't realize, like, the days of bumper to bumper are over, and it's been over for a long time. And we've just been scared to admit that. So we have specialists today. So, I mean, if you got a guy that is a rock star on the alignment machine or doing brakes and ball joints, like we need to put those guys in classes, because things are ever evolving. Everything goes smooth until it doesn't. And just getting a little bit of training and hearing a different perspective, and more than anything with training, in my opinion, maybe it's not just always necessarily listening to the guy or girl at the front of the room, but it's the networking that's involved with it. I wouldn't be anywhere that I am today. I would have none of the, and I'm going to use the term very loosely. I don't see it that way, but I wouldn't have any of the perceived success that I have today if it wasn't for the networking. Again, I was lucky enough. I got to meet Brandon. He saw something in me and gave me the push, and I'm here because of that. And, I tried my best to pay it forward. But training is super important, not just from a technical aspect either. I mean, from, getting involved if you're a shop owner with a business coaching company, whoever it may be, getting your management team involved in some sort of leadership training, getting your front of the house and advisor and or consultant, whatever term you're using today. I just think it's very important to change the perception and to grow as a shop, and training's got to be a major factor in that.
Yeah, love that. And I like that you're talking about changing the perception. Prior to us going live on this episode, you talked about how you're able to help people recognize that they're more than just a tech. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, well, I'm just this or I'm just that. And ultimately, like, we can't let the size of our assignment dictate the significance of our impact. We're in the seat that we're in for a reason, and we get to make an impact in the seat that we're in. So can you talk to the audience about what it means when you say that we're more than just a tech? We're able to recognize we are a specialist. To quote Carm Capriato, I mean, we're talking about mechanical specialist and really redefining what a technician in our industry looks like. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just the average consumer perception that it's kind of beat us down as a profession, and we do a good job of doing that to ourselves too, because again, so many technicians, especially, I'm sure everybody's going to pick up, my heart's on the back of the house. I'm a technician at heart. But we're more than that. We're mentors, we're mentees, we're the reason people are safe to be on the road. And I think sometimes we don't look at the bigger picture of what we are put on this earth to do. And it's our job to change the perception. It's our job to be the experts. It's our job to be the utmost professional that we can be. And, when we get stuck in the mindset that I'm nothing more than a mechanic, I'm a grease monkey, I'm this, I'm that, it's a mindset thing. And you're going to beat yourself down by that. And, we're much, much more than that. The technician job, it's just that, it's a job, but it's everything else that goes with it that I think, especially for males. Good friend of mine, Kevin Roth, talks about this all the time. Most males attribute their life or their perceived success on their job. Guys, it's more than that. You're making an impact on that young technician sitting next to you and watching every move you make because maybe they're idolizing you and you don't realize that. Front of the house, same thing. You get a lot of service consultants that you don't realize the impact you have on them by your abilities and your special skills that a lot of people don't have the ability to do what we do. And I just think sometimes we allow that to beat us down and get us in a bad mental state. And I think once we get past that and we shift our mindset that we're here for something, a bigger calling and a bigger purpose, that fixing that broken vehicle in between our rack is just a small part of it.
Man, everything you just shared, Andrew, is it speaks to the level of perception you have and you're living in leadership. And I'm going to ask you, what does leadership mean to you here in a bit, but everything you just shared literally it encompasses this concept of you're leading from the front in the back, as so, and I want to clarify when I say this, because I actually don't say the front of the house and the back of the house. I say the west wing and the east wing. I mean, we're all on the same platform, right? But ultimately you're leading and you're showing your technicians, you're showing other technicians, other mechanical specialists around the industry what it looks like to lead through and to go through something and grow through something in this industry. Now I'll ask you, I know I've been kind of going all over the place, but now I'll ask you, Andrew, what does leadership mean to you?
So one of my favorite sayings, I'm sure you're going to hear the voice crack again, but if not me, who? If you're not willing to sometimes take charge and take the reins in complete ownership of what you're a part of what you're doing, there's no way you can be a leader. And just, you and I talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm not a big fan of titles. Like I said, I run day-to-day operations, but if you guys all notice, I don't use the term general manager. I don't like that because there's times where I fall behind and you're going to have others step up, and I think the biggest part of any type of leadership role is understanding like it's not you against them, it's them, you against everything else. You're there to fight against the day to day or to help grow the business or help grow yourselves or help a client out, whatever the case may be. But if not you, who's going to step up and do it? So I think everybody out there has the capabilities of being a leader, outside of the titles. The titles, that stuff drives me nuts. I mean, I know they're in place for reasons. I get all that, but at the end of the day, if you're working at any type of business, even outside of the automotive, even running your own home, you and I were speaking. We're both fathers, married, 4 kids. You're looked at as the leader, but there's times you got to lean on somebody else in that house to help you out, and sometimes it's the kids. So I'm
Right.
I'm big on that. If not me, who, and when you see a need or you see an area that needs improvement or you see somebody that might be falling behind, I'm big on extreme ownership and accountability. I feel it's our duty to help pick them up, dust them off, and maybe help carry them a little bit until they're able to start walking on their own again. So
So
that's leadership in a nutshell for me.
If not me, who? I'll ask you, Andrew, where's the emotion coming from? Where is it rooted in?
So I'm a guy that's been told my whole life you can't do something. So I'll keep the profanities at bay here for you, but I'm the guy. If you tell me I can't do something, watch me.
Mhm.
That's always been my driving force. You get that, you get people beating you down throughout life, and they're going to look for a reason to tell you can't do something. And I'm big on I'm a big sports guy. I talk about this a lot in my classes in leadership. And Kobe Bryant, after he passed, actually became a big inspiration for me, and that whole Mamba mentality and the way he operated. And if you told Kobe he couldn't do something, he'd tell you, just watch, it's going to happen. So that's a big thing for me. It's my biggest driving force outside of my wife and my kids. Is you tell me I can't do it, watch me. So the guys and the girls here in the shop, they all know it. So if they're trying to get me to do something once in a while, they'll be like, I bet you can't do that. So it's a mind shift, it's a mindset thing for me.
One of the things that Kobe was real big on is you talk about the Mamba mentality, and it's this relentless pursuit of perfection, knowing he's never going to attain it. And I can tell you, as a recovering perfectionist, this is something I've struggled with over the years, because I often won't start something, or I won't try it, or I'm not motivated yet, or I don't have confidence in it yet, or it's not the right time for me to actually take action. But what we know is that the right time is right now. Like, just do it. And sometimes we just got to do it scared, knowing that it's never going to be perfect, knowing that it's not often going to be pretty. But going back to what you shared about how you've always, or you've had folks in your life, maybe not believe in you, and if you're watching this episode, you can see the sign behind me, believe. It's the sign from Ted Lasso. I love this, because ultimately, when you have someone in your life who is willing to share these 4 simple words, I believe in you, like, that can go such a long way. And you're right, Andrew. I mean, you and I both have 4 kids, and it can be it's a challenge, to raise 4 kids. You've got a couple of seniors in your house, and then I've got a few teenagers, and we're just starting the teenage years too. So I'm regularly reminding myself, like, hey, like, they are going through this development stage in their brains that is challenging, and in the days of social media, having to go to school, it's like, I can't imagine what it would have been like if I was at school with social media these days. And so regularly making sure that my kids know, hey, I love you, I believe in you. Like, this is something I try to regularly share with them often. But as a trainer and in this industry, you're speaking the same type of language to your training attendees and the folks that you're working with there. You mentioned feeling the need to, sorry, you didn't actually say this, but you kind of alluded to someone saying, I can't do it. And you're saying, I'm going to prove you wrong. How can you help shift individuals' mindsets on, it's really no longer about proving yourself, it's about improving yourself. And you can help people do that through training. Speak to that and what it looks like to shift a mindset from, look, you can say whatever you want, but your opinion is not the same as mine. So it's not about proving myself. I'm going to keep on improving myself. And regardless of if you're watching or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah, so I'm going to quote Kobe Bryant again here, and I'm gonna blank myself out. But Coach approached Kobe Bryant one time, and he said, Kobe took the game over and he won it. And as the story goes, as the coach approached Kobe and was like, "Hey man, you got to remember there's no I in team." And his response was, "You are absolutely correct, but there's an ME in that mother expletive." And I that's my ethos, So when you're in a team, sometimes the team's gonna falter a little bit on you, and you have to be the one to step up and lead. And I think that's like the most important thing you, as an employee, as a parent, as a sibling, as a child, whatever the case may be. You got to remember, like once in a while, you've got to be the one that moves the mark a little bit, and that's been a big driving factor for me. Is that whole, you're right. There's no I in team, but there's an ME in there, and that sometimes it requires me to move that benchmark a little bit further.
As someone who is managing the day-to-day operations at your shop, and you're influencing and helping grow and develop team members at your shop, how do you approach someone who, let's say they're a young technician, a young mechanical specialist, they're maybe first, second job, and they're green to the industry, but they went through training and school, and they want to get better. They want to be a phenomenal, make this a phenomenal career, but they don't believe in themselves yet. They don't view themselves as a leader. But you mentioned leadership is not a title. It's really a skill that can be practiced and developed. How do you help shift their mentality and help lead them and recognize for themselves that they are also a leader?
So that's really a loaded question. So let me kind of back this up here a little bit. I've always been the type of person, I want to remember who I needed at 18, who I needed at 20, at 25, 30, 35, and knocking on 40's door, who I need today. So I constantly remind myself, who was it that I needed at that point in my life, and what type of guidance did I need at that particular point in my career? And that's kind of how I do the development stages. I'm big on what I call fender side teaching. I try to make a point every day. I go up to every person, spend a couple minutes just getting to know them a little bit more, getting to know what their needs and wants are outside of the business. If it's a young technician trying to grow, I will do everything I can to pour into them. And I always joke, like, if I can do this, anybody can do this. And I'm a big believer in that. You're talking about a guy that's struggled with, a lot of social anxiety and other issues growing up that, I truly believe if this guy can do it, there's no reason that nobody else can. And, just pouring into them, letting them know, like, you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. I am okay with mistakes as long as we learn from them. And sometimes they're going to be costly, and especially for a young technician, you're going to make some pretty costly mistakes. And I just try to be very honest and raw with them that you're never going to hear me yell and scream. That's not the way I operate. I don't react well to that, so I don't lead that way. If you hear me raise my voice, it's usually because I'm excited. It's never because I'm mad. I try to walk away from a bad situation, collect my thoughts, and then go approach it at that point. Because, if we're talking about a young technician that just made a mistake, trust me, there is nothing you're going to say to them that they're not already thinking to themselves. So it's just offering them hey, I was there one time. I made a lot of mistakes. And, I tell everybody, again, any perceived success that people may have of me, just understand it's because I'm standing on a pile of manure that was all of the mistakes I made to get there. So it's part of the growth process. And, just reaffirming that with people. And again, it doesn't have to be the technicians. It's my own sons, my daughters, people in other areas of my life. Like, again, you're going to make mistakes. That's the only way you grow.
It's part of the growth process. We know that growth and comfort can't coexist, and it's very evident that you have been able to get comfortable being uncomfortable, going through and growing through social anxiety and stepping up even when maybe you didn't feel like it, or when you're not yet motivated, or it just doesn't feel like I'm ready for something. Again, man, I love the honesty, the rawness, the humility. Like, kudos to you for all this, Andrew, because just in this short time that we've already had together, I can tell you, man, I would love to be following you. Like, if you're my leader, like, of course, like, you're someone who is embracing this level of vulnerability, which you and I both know is not a weakness. Like, that's a strength. And that's why people feel the impact that they do from you. You've dropped a lot of great advice on this episode so far, but I'll turn it on the other way and ask you, what is the greatest advice that you've ever received from a coach or a mentor?
So there's a couple that come to mind. Early in my career, when I was going to tech school, I worked at a Jiffy Lube, and the gentleman that owned it, I will never forget. He gave me a promotion. I was super excited. I'm in tech school. He gave me a promotion to a management role, and I was just talking about this with my owner this morning, which is really cool that you asked this. And I will never forget. He pulled me to the side and he said, "Son," and you got to remember at this time I'm like 17, maybe 18 years old. And he said, "Son, I want you to remember, if you make everybody look good that you're leading, they're going to make you look great.
Mm.
But if you make them look bad, they're going to bury you." And I've ran my entire life that way. It's never, when a mistake happens here, it's never their fault. It's my fault. I'm the face of it right now, so it's a me thing. It's not a them thing. And just knowing that, because I'm going to make them look good, because at the end of it, they're going to make me look great. And same thing with my kids. If the kids make a mistake and, maybe you're called into the school for some odd reason, which thankfully I've not had to have that conversation. But if I ever did, that's a me thing. It's something I did at home that, it's not the kid's fault. It's my fault. So I'm going to make them look good because they're going to make me look great in the end. So that's the one that is carried with me probably the most. The other one that's been really instrumental for me, my good friend Kevin Roth speaks on this quite a bit about employees. Employees fall into just a couple categories. They're either unwilling, unskilled, untrained, or possibly unhinged. I can fix the unskilled or untrained. We can do that as a team. We can fix those, but what we can't ever fix is we're never going to be able to fix unwilling. And I definitely do not have the skill set to fix unhinged. So those are really the two that stick out in my mind the most, and kind of how that's my core ethos. I just want to make everybody around me look good because they're going to make me look even better. Which says a lot, and again, I look at that from every aspect of my life, not just here at work, not just from the training side. If you make another young technician or a technician inside one of your classes speaks up and they share something, I'm going to make sure everybody pays attention to that, because it just looks better for you that you were able to get them engaged. Maybe you made that spark and now they've got a different path that they want to follow. So again, those are my core ethos right there.
And this is so good. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite episodes that we've done before. And I'll ask you, if anyone wants more of Andrew Fischer, where are you going to be next? Like, where can we find you at? Where can we see? Where can we attend a training? What you got on the agenda?
So I'm always busy. So obviously I do a ton with TechFix. We do a lot of the free TechFix training that you guys can catch on social media. The TechFix forum on Facebook is a great resource to see what I'm doing for those guys. CTI, obviously CTI online has stuff coming up, and they'll have, and not just myself. I would encourage you guys. There's some amazing instructors out there. But it's got some stuff going there. I'm going to be at Tools coming up in just a couple weeks. Like I shared with you earlier, unfortunately, I only get to do the one day, the Sunday, because my sons are graduating that Friday. So I'm coming in a little late. But we're going to be teaching a class I'm very proud of, spent a lot of time developing over about 18 months. We'll be teaching that one on Sunday. Waiting to hear back. We did some stuff with we submitted some stuff with AST. What do they call themselves today? EA, whichever one.
ASTA, yeah.
Thank you. And then once in a while I still do the shop stuff. I was just down at oh geez, I was with Benji Burris. Thank you. It was Benji Burris and Chad Whitley with their guys down there just a couple of weeks back. That was a load of fun. I love doing the small shop stuff. I was with Eric and Lola Schmidt just maybe 2 months ago now. That was a load of fun. So yeah, there's always something going on. So we'll be at those events, even if we're not instructing. The plans to be there again for the networking. I love to instruct. I love being in front of the room. There's no greater high for me. It sounds odd, but all my anxieties, the minute the mic kicks on, it kind of goes away and I feel at home. So it helps. So in any capacity I can be involved with, I try.
Awesome. If you're listening and you haven't yet registered for tools, I don't think it's too late. I think you can go ahead and get on there and register for tools. That's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, May 29th through June 1st, I believe. So we still got some time, and this will air before the tools conference. And man, we're gonna try to figure out a way to get you to Houston too. So if you're listening and you don't know, I'm in the Houston area, and so I'd like to do a live in-person training event soon, and I'd love to have you come out and do some training alongside me. That would be fantastic, because man, you have a lot of great wisdom to share. Again, I really love the authenticity, the humility, the vulnerability that I'm witnessing, Andrew. And man, keep doing what you're doing. Like you're making an incredible impact, and people are watching. And so again, very honored to have you on the show, and hopefully it's not your last time here.
No, I'm honored, man. This was a lot of fun, and it's hard to take those compliments. So thank you.
Of course, man. Hey, I'm going to keep on throwing them your way, because you are doing some great things, man. I really appreciate you and what you're doing for the industry. You are helping change the industry and making it better, and so we can use all the help we can get, and you're one of the people at the top. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here yet again on another episode of the Limitless Leadership Podcast. As you know, every episode we look to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great day. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep